One of the things I did is when I started the business, like I've got to have a nice car because I'm going to be taking clients out and everything has to be perfect. I was in a mindset of everything has to be perfect. And so you have to step back, and if you're 20, 25, you're looking at starting a business, things are not going to be perfect.
The beauty is that the dollars that AI will bring in blow away the dollars that infrastructure managed services brings in. So the opportunity is exponentially larger from a revenue margin with a much lower risk and price point because they're able to get revenue without any real expense attached to it. So I think it's an incredible opportunity for MSPs.
Being helpful, being useful, that is the best strategy to live a kind of fulfilled life where you're making an impact. And our value creation happens as a byproduct of us being helpful, useful to others. Adding value to others means that you will be taken care of. I think I truly believe in that.
The one that I think, and you might agree with this or you might disagree, the one that I think we've been chasing for 20 years plus is this idea of the trusted advisor. And I think that's where the gold lies. And I think it's extremely relevant in the context of what's happening in the world today. We wouldn't be able to run a podcast without saying, AI, right?
From your perspective, what helps MSPs build real lasting relationships? Not just one-time handshakes at conferences, because that's one thing I think you have so unique about yourself. You're very relationship focused. You're very authentic when it comes to conversations, authentic conversations, relationships. So talk to me a little bit about that.
So even when I was running the MSP, some people don't know we have an MSP that we still run, but even when I was doing that and now moving to ImmiBot, I think there's this genuine curiosity everyone on our team has. And it can be, the boys, their focus is automation. How do we make things better? And for me, my focus is always people. And so I'm very curious of how people are the way they are, why they do the things they do. And my goal has always been to help somebody. And I think that's something that's universal across both of our teams, right? At the MSP and at ImmiBot. And I think that's how you continue those conversations. I have people after these events that just contact me out of band and are like, hey, will you talk to me about actually, I'm having this conversation tomorrow with somebody. Will you talk to me about your path and how you chose to go this direction when the next step for you at the MSP was CEO? Like, why did you divert? And it's having that genuine just want to help others and genuine attention to what they're doing and wanting to just make their lives better. I think at the end of the day, people aren't a number on our P&L. Like, we've never run after money. And that's something that we've been very blunt and honest about. Like, we don't have a sales team. So we're very much community-led growth. And we're very much like, how can we help you be more efficient? And I think that's what it is at the end of the day, is that genuine just need to make somebody's life better.
Genuine care, genuine intent to show up to give. And I see that, I feel it, that you are a true go-giver, a community builder. And I think that's probably why I feel that alignment, energy alignment, when it comes to like we show up to give and know that, okay, you have to deposit in relationships. And I see you and now kind of you sharing that during this podcast. I know that is probably the best way to go about building your business. When you build your business through community and you build that community by building relationships, and you build relationships by showing up to give, adding value to others.
The value it's there because then you also it's a happy accident that you get champions in the community, right? Like, people at other vendors talk about ImmiBot and I'm just like, what? Like, that's not something you hear that often, but we're just trying to do a little good, I suppose. The end of the day.
Yeah, being helpful, being useful, that is the best strategy to live a kind of fulfilled life where you're making an impact. And our value creation happens as a byproduct of us being helpful, useful to others. Adding value to others means that you will be taken care of. I think I truly believe in that. I think where I am today is because, this universe have taken good care of me, but that's a byproduct. Just like you, I don't run after money. And I'm like, money will follow when you earn relationships. Then earning money is easier. That's a byproduct.
I would completely agree. I mean, and at the end of the day, like, We're just pretty happy doing what we do.
I sometimes get a bit of an adverse reaction to the word growth. And I think a lot of people think that growth means just adding new customers. And I think that's been a bit of a sort of our industry has been inundated with that, right? Like sell more MRR, get more deals. And I think, talking about opportunities or risks, um, I think there's been a real lack of growth from existing customers. There's been a real lack of focus on growth from existing customers. And I think this dates back to the early days of sort of defining what an MSP is, which is providing the reactive support, be also being in some way or however you want to define it, proactive. And that used to mean, patch management, and now it means, threat management and different things along those lines. But the one that I think, and you might agree with this or you might disagree, the one that I think we've been chasing for 20 years plus is this idea of the trusted advisor. And I think that's where the gold lies. And I think it's extremely relevant in the context of what's happening in the world today. We wouldn't be able to run a podcast without saying, yeah, AI, right? So we'll say AI now and get that out of the way. But with the rise of AI as an example, I just think we need to get there much more quickly. We need to get into the mindset of a consultative advisor approach, a strategic partner approach as an MSP with our customers. And I think, the uncomfortable truth that exists, and by the way, we have this, I'm going to be careful of saying because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but if you ask a typical customer of an MSP, which I've done this many times, by the way, not even knowing who their MSP is, and you just say kind of, how's the experience? How do you enjoy working with your MSP? It's almost always the same answer. It's like, it's fine. It's not bad. Whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think we've been relegated to this plumber role, and the plumber role is necessary. It's not to say that the plumber roles shouldn't be there, and we need to maintain things and upgrade things and implement things. But I think the strategic advisor role, sort of being in the boardroom and helping customers to look around the next corner and plan for what's coming, and AI is a great example of that. It still feels like we're fairly far away from that for the average MSP, and I think that pivot can be made fairly quickly if we start to kind of reframe how we engage with customers, make sure we have the right people at the table, show up to the boardroom and have the right conversation or ask the right questions. I think this is an area where most MSPs would self-select that we're not great at that. And I'm not saying this is not a 5-person or 50-person or 200-person MSP problem. This is an all MSP problem. Funny, actually, the 5-person MSP where the CEO directly engages with the CEOs of the companies they support actually do this the best in some cases
Yes.
because they get that personalized, high-level strategic value conversation. So I think that's the biggest threat to losing business is that somebody else comes in and provides a better quality service there. But I also think it's the biggest opportunity because I think it's fairly easy to reframe that.
One of the things I did is when I started the business, like I've got to have a nice car because I'm going to be taking clients out, and everything has to be perfect. I was in the mindset of everything has to be perfect, and so you have to step back. And if you're 20, 25, you're looking at starting a business, things are not going to be perfect. And it's for a long time, and they're still not perfect today, right? Cindy, you deal with the same headaches and issues that I deal with. So so don't overthink things and don't think things have to be perfect. Getting out of your own way. And it goes back to overthinking it, but getting out of your own way because we think things have to be perfect. We get in our way, we overthink it, especially when you're an engineering minded person, you're always going to overthink things. So getting out of your own way, knowing that you're going to put something out there that it's going to be wrong. You don't want it wrong, but things are going to happen. You're going to make mistakes, but that's how you learn. That's how you grow as a human and grow in your business. And then I think the last thing is when you start getting employees, hire the right team around you that you can trust them to implement for you, and you're not involved in every single thing. I see so many people trying to implement as an MSP, try to implement marketing, and then they want to read every single word. They want to have control of everything that goes out, besides just letting your marketing manager just send stuff out, knowing that they're going to make mistakes. We're all humans. You build a better team around you when you just empower your team to do those things.
So don't overthink and hire right team around you, and then get out of your own way.
So you might be the same MSP as same competitor in the market, but their target market might be totally different. So knowing the people around you and becoming friends with them is completely okay, right? I rather get to know the people that I'm competing against potentially than worry about if I meet with them and I'm going to give off some kind of knowledge that they're going to overtake my company. Don't think that way. I feel the more I teach, the more I get back from MSPs, but also more I get back from getting clients, right? Because I'm educating other MSPs how to grow their business.
How are you as an entrepreneur thinking about selling AI to scale and adopting AI to be more efficient?
I love that question because it is a big question with what I think is a suitably big response. And I want to start with this. I see AI being a situation where the lion's share of companies and industries are losers, right? I think the days of being a big five consultant where they're paid a lot of money to give advice to people, those industries are going to suffer, for example. I see AI as one of 3 industries that are set to explode due to this opportunity for those that get on board. And I see the three industries. One is being the AI creators, whether it remains the ones we have now, whether it's X, Anthropic, Microsoft, ChatGPT. If there's others obviously, but the big ones, they're going to win. One of them or all of them are going to win. I think the utility companies that power them are going to win. And I think MSPs are going to win. And the reason I feel that is because there's no greater conduit to help the average small business with technology than an MSP. It's an incredibly mature industry. We've got a lot of players. We've got records of about over 50,000 MSPs in North America alone. It's an infrastructure that the AI technologies are going to have to leverage to take care of the average small business. I do not see ChatGPT supporting Bill and Ted's Excellent Tire Shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I see MSPs as being positioned to do that. Now, I think it's an insanely profitable opportunity. I see the average MSP that makes the jump from technical repairman to a business advisor and solution architect and consultant. I think they're going to manage thousands of Tesla Optimus robots. I think they're going to manage hundreds of thousands of agents, agentic AI. I think they're going to manage the core infrastructure of AI, specifically in my mind for the channel, it's ChatGPT Business or Copilot for 365. I see them managing that layer themselves. I also see MSPs as the conduit for other people and companies to go through them to reach the MSP. For example, one of the industries hit first by AI was marketing, right? The last 3 years have been bad for copywriters, designers, logo, designers, website designers, that type of thing. We are now offering our services through the MSP community to the end user, which represents 2 things to the MSP. One, it's a brand new source of revenue and profit because they have to do nothing. We do all the work. We benefit from their relationship. We benefit from the sales part, the head start. We don't have to call their customers. They bring us in. And by bringing us in, they have a partner in there instead of a stranger that's going to come in and potentially risk their managed services revenue by bringing in someone else. So we are seeing mature MSPs understand that the AI it's way too big for them to do on their own. They're going to have to be a VAR. They're going to have to be an integrator. They're going to have to be a business advisor, a CIO to those companies, and not try to do it all themselves, but bring in third parties. We might bring in our marketing automation system, the Growth Machine. We might bring in Clay. We might bring in other AI tools to help their customers leverage AI to become more profitable and successful and give them a percentage of revenue. 5%, 10%, 20%. And the beauty is that the dollars that AI will bring in blow away the dollars that infrastructure managed services brings in. So the opportunity is exponentially larger from a revenue margin with a much lower risk and price point because they're able to get revenue without any real expense attached to it. So I think it's an incredible opportunity for MSPs. I'm sure you see that. I think the people who get on board are going to be 100x the size that they are today from a profit perspective. And the quality of life and the ease of running the business is going to be a tiny fraction of how difficult it has been in historically.
Cash is the number one killer of small business, SMBs in general, right? So MSPs are not immune to this, right? So, we have a really simple mission: make cash collection as effortless as possible for MSPs and SMBs that they serve. And this is like near and dear to my heart. Like, I've been, as a business owner, in the past, I mentioned, like, we've got SMB DNA in the company, and MSP DNA. I started my career in that space. My business partner, Avery, also started his career in that space. We've lived through these challenges, right? And so this isn't us just hypothesizing that we can maybe, create a business to make some money and help with this thing. It's like, I feel very personally attached to helping business owners make sure that cash isn't killing them and collecting it isn't killing them slowly as well. And I mean that from like just a time standpoint, because I've seen it. Like, we've all seen it probably. If you have friends and family that own businesses, like, for sure we know somebody where this was a problem. And helping people understand that their P&L and that, yes, you can have revenue. Yes, you can be profitable even, but that doesn't mean there's money in the bank. And that's a big problem. And helping people have the courage to say, like, you know what, we deserve to get paid. We're doing amazing work for our clients. And it's okay to say, this is how, this is the value we provide. And this is how we are compensated. You're going to pay us in advance, or we're automatically going to debit, or whatever it is, to ensure that your company is healthy, right? And ensure that the money's in the bank to do a lot of things. You got to pay your people. You got to pay your bills. Like, if you've got money sitting with your clients for 60, 90 days, you're now a bank, right? And I'm pretty sure none of us set out to be a bank, especially one that doesn't charge interest. There's a good anecdote here. Like, we had a new partner start with us a few months ago, and they're a decent sized MSP doing a great business, and they never really worried about cash, but they didn't have any automation around it. And by automating it, whether, in this case they use BenjiPays, but there's, they have options. By automating it, they actually sent us an email, and they're like, we never worried about this before. What's amazing now is that we didn't realize we had a problem. And now that BenjiPays is automating all this, we have money in the bank, and we've gone from being everything's fine to, wow, like, we could invest, like, because they're doing a good business. So that went from, like, fine to lots of money in the bank. They're like, we could buy a building, we could go into new markets, we could grow the team. Like, this is things that weren't on the table before. So when we talk about cash flow and its importance, it's not just from, like, making sure you keep the lights on. And sometimes early days in the business, or certain times, that's going to be the case, especially when you're going through growth periods where you're hiring ahead of revenue. But it can also mean, like, what are the opportunities that we're missing out on because we're not paying attention to this thing? And it's just so key and so core to the health of a business. The thing is, it's also one of the easiest things to automate and put on, like, autopilot. And you just, just automate that happy path around it and focus on the few things that go wrong, and have your people, who I'm sure are much more competent and smarter than required to just, like, press buttons to process payments, go do really high value things for them and for you and your customers. So that's what we're trying to do here. It's the simplest thing is automate cash flow, but it should have a massive impact on everyone when it's done right.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.